Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about a stock that I potentially could buy. I'm very interested in this stock. It's probably in my top 3 stocks that I'm watching at the moment. And yeah, I thought I'd make a video on it, sharing the research that I've done into it and why I'm really interested in this stock. I think I might have mentioned it maybe once or twice on the channel, but I've never given it its own video. And today I thought it was time to do that. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. Sorry there was no video yesterday, just a bit too busy to do a video, but yeah, I'm here doing a video today. But if you were on the Patreon, you would have known that I dropped an exclusive video on there, which was my US stock market portfolio review. But we'll get stuck into this stock that I am potentially looking at buying. It's an e-commerce company, and it is a e-commerce company that is starting to put in some decent amounts of profitability in and starting to grow the revenue at a very good rate as well. And this company is called Mercado Libre. So I potentially could buy this stock if the stock maybe gets a bit lower. In my head, I kind of had around about a 30 billion market cap potentially on it. So it would have to drop a little bit more than here, which could easily happen with the stock market that we're in, with the bear market. And this bear market at the moment has created these opportunities in so many stocks, this one as well. And in this bear market, with the volatility, with the negativity, without doubt, we could see this drive down to a 30 billion market cap, and I could potentially buy. In my head, I always thought if I saw this kind of get back to prices that it was at in 2019, 2020, started to see this getting towards maybe that $600, $700 range. That's where I'd be really interested in buying it. It did hit it around a 52-week low not too long ago actually, so it can do it. It has already done it. So yeah, I'm thinking very closely about this one. The only major problem that I have if I buy it is that I've just got to allocate cash to it, and obviously I've got to be aware that if I'm putting cash in this one, is it worth doing that? Then some of the opportunities that I've already started buying. So that's the only kind of thing that I'm weighing up at the moment. But yeah, so Mercado Libre is a e-commerce play. It's an e-commerce play in Latin America. And you might be thinking, why is Latin America so important? Well, the thing about e-commerce in Latin America is it has been only recently adapted and taken on, and what it has left is to have major growth sectors here for e-commerce in the Latin America, because it was very slow to get adapted and being used on a regular basis. So you'll see here the leading countries based on retail e-commerce sales growth in 2022. You got the Philippines, India, Indonesia, and then you got obviously Brazil, which is 22%, which they operate in, Argentina, which once again they operate in, Mexico, which they operate in again. So you can see that there's a lot of Latin America countries in here that are the fastest growing e-commerce space in here. And you'll be able to see here that Mercado Libre actually in Latin America has by far the biggest market share. They are the number 1 players. They are the Amazon of Latin America. So you have an area here where e-commerce is very much in its hyper growth stage, and you have basically the company that is Amazon everywhere else. Amazon is struggling. Amazon are far behind Mercado Libre in Latin America. So you've got a big growth area here, and you've got the major brand here that is controlling this area. So how did Mercado Libre come so successful in Latin America? Why is that the e-commerce company that is dominating? And by the way, you've noticed here, that's actually the new TV that I just bought. Why has Mercado Libre come the number 1 player in Latin America? Well, there was a couple of reasons why it was so successful. Amazon pretty much avoided going into Latin America because there wasn't a lack of infrastructure in place. The reason why e-commerce was very slow to be taken up there is because, first of all, the logistics around there wasn't great, and Mercado Libre has fast-tracked that and built in a pretty good logistics system, and Amazon is just only slowly starting to do that now in a few of those countries. So first of all, you had Mercado Libre really adapts the infrastructure in place for the logistics side of it. Second of all, there's a very slow adoption of fintech. So what did Mercado Libre do? They created their own fintech system. So we are talking about Mercado Libre potentially being a fantastic e-commerce company, but as well as that, you're getting a very big fintech company. So you are basically getting with this company the Amazon in Latin America, and you are getting the PayPal basically in Latin America as well. So it's very 2 good income streams here. And when you talk about moats, when you are the number 1 brand and you have the best logistic service out there, the best fintech out there, it just all comes together nicely, where them people that come on your platform will stay on your platform, and as long as you carry on offering a very good service, they will continue to use your service and obviously recommend them to your friends. And it very much has the first mover advantage on Amazon, and it's been able to really fast track Latin America into a growth sector, and it's benefiting from that an absolute huge amount. You'll be able to look into here and see all of the parts of the business growing at a good rate. You've got Brazil here, Argentina, Mexico, other countries here, and growing at 63%. And you can see the breakdown of the incomes at the moment. Obviously Brazil is a massive area for them at the moment, but the other ones also have a lot of potential here, the likes of Chile, for example. So there's a lot of areas in here in Latin America that are growing massive rates. They're not reliant on just one country, even though Brazil is one of the bigger ones. They do have a lot of countries here to maximize the potential of, and even if Amazon did come back and be very successful in one country, all the other countries would potentially give them a bit of a moat here. And the recent earnings were fantastic. You look at the EPS beat by 19 cents, the revenue beat by 210 million, and this grew 63% year over year. This is in a period of time when you are seeing a lot of companies struggle on earnings, especially e-commerce companies that are coming off very tough comparisons as well. There's a lot of companies out there struggling, especially e-commerce companies, and Mercado Libre come out with these earnings on tough comps, and look at the growth they're putting in as well is very fantastic. And like I said, we talk about profitability really ramping up. And like I said, you have two income streams here. You have the e-commerce side of it, which is obviously growing at decent amounts of rate, but when you look at the fintech side of it, the fintech is growing massively. The fintech has potential to really actually overtake the commerce side of the business as well, which is really exciting about this business. You've got a company here that is putting in a lot of revenue growth, and it's also starting to pick up the profitability a little bit at the moment. Obviously, when you look at the gross margins are fantastic at nearly 1 billion off nearly 2 billion of revenue. And if it wasn't for them to reinvest in the company and making sure they keep Amazon out of it and taking more market share, they could put very good amounts of growth in easily. But obviously they're reinvesting in at the moment, and you can see that they are spending 234 in product and technology, 551 in sales and marketing, which is up nearly double, and you can see general and admin is also up nearly double. So they are reinvesting very heavily in the company, but if it wasn't for reinvesting heavily into the company, this company would be putting really good amounts of profit in as well, which is fantastic. Now it does trade at 207 times earnings because it has only just recently made profit, but that is really starting to ramp up a massive rate, and it does trade down at a price sales ratio of 4.8, which isn't too bad for a company like this. Now when you look at the future growth here, you can see the revenue growth expansion just going absolutely crazy at the moment. Like I said, they are expected only to grow around 30% this year, but when you look at the growth numbers that they've just put in recently, you are looking and thinking, have Mercado Libre potentially sandbagged with what's going on at the moment, with all the companies that are reporting tough comparisons at the moment, sandbagged it slightly because this is very strong growth to what is forecast here by analyst predictions. And when you do look at free cash flow, for example, they are nearly putting 1 billion in free cash flow. Now when you do look at the balance sheet, there is a little bit more debt on there at the moment because they have really taken capital on to really help with them investments, which I am fine about because they still do have nearly 2 billion on cash, which is quite healthy. And when you do look at a metric point of view compared to what it does normally, you can see here that on a total enterprise value to revenues, for example, it's down at a 3. If you look at total enterprise value to EBITDA, it's currently down at a 39, and previously this has been like 200, 100s. Same on the free cash flow point of view, it's like at 27, and you look at what it normally trades at. Same again, it's a lot cheaper than what it normally is. So I look at this company as an e-commerce giant here and a fintech giant that's got so many areas to carry on growing in, very early stages. You look at the numbers that they're putting in on tough comparisons, which is really strong. And you look at the share price and you talk about the share price that's kind of nearly getting back to pre-CV levels, which is very, very interesting, because if you look at what the company was doing previously, obviously they're doing 7.9 billion a year and 182 million in profit at the moment. If you go back to that pre-CV time, it was nearly 2 billion and 180 million in loss. And like I said, it's kind of crazy to think of that reduction in share price compared to the progress this company's made in the next 2 years. And you start thinking about what this company is going to carry on doing as e-commerce grows in Latin America and fintech carries on growing in Latin America in the next 2 years and even 5 years. It's a very interesting investment to me. So like I said, I'm currently watching it. I am kind of tempted. Ideally, like I said, I always had, if it got to pre-CV levels in my kind of, or pre-CV prices in my head, I was like, that's kind of crazy. And if it did that, you'd be talking around a 30 billion market cap. You consider that you're talking that they potentially do, 1 billion free cash flow. That's not too bad really at all for a company that's going to be generating good amounts of profit, potentially growing at least 30% a year, but at the moment obviously they're still growing at nearly 63% year over year. Is not really too bad when you factor in that longer term growth and profit. They'll be ramping up in them gross margins. So I could easily see, if it wasn't for reinvesting in this company could easily be putting nearly 1 billion in profit a year. So yeah, it's a very interesting opportunity to me at the moment. I think this is a very interesting e-commerce play, but as well as that, obviously a fintech play. So yeah, this is definitely one stock that's on top of my watch list right now, and I'm very much interested in. So yeah, I thought I'd just give you its own video, share my thoughts that I'm interested in it, and maybe there's something useful for you guys to kind of be watching this and take away from the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed me just sharing a video about a stock I'm interested in really. But yeah, if you hit the like button, that's amazing. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll catch you in a bit.